Lions and Dan Campbell were sending a message on Sunday.
Do you?
Our favorite Bill Burr soundbite.
Oh, do you?
They were sending a message.
Mighty Ducks. Not worth winning if you can't win big.
Rich Eisen weekdays starting at 11. Now on ESPN Northwest Florida.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
College Football Saturday on ESPN Radio. It's a showdown in the SEC.
Arnold, deep shot to the end zone.
Jackson Arnold leads the 3-0 and 22nd ranked Auburn Tigers into Oklahoma to face his former team, the 3-0 11th ranked Sooners.
Kickoff Saturday, 2:30 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And now, the Gulf Coast's newest sports talk host,
Hey, there's the new guy.
Paul Wilson.
I'm sick and tired of carrying all the weight.
Paul is your pipeline to the heart of the action. Hot takes, big reactions, and your calls are incoming.
The product on the field is pathetic.
The Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What time it is? You can hear the sound. It's a Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here on a Tuesday. It's awesome. It's beautiful outside. We're in the Panhandle, Panama City Beach. We're having a good day. Hope you are too. Don't forget you can call in. You can text in on the Red 7T's phone line. I'm sure today we're going to have some stuff to talk about. As always on Tuesday, I got my friend Bobby Boucher, football legend. Jeff, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Are you kin to Bobby Boucher?
No, well, maybe by a distant cousin or something like that. Because, you know, my mom's first language is Cajun French.
I know. You told me that.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. Now, do you know any of that stuff? I mean, I know it's like it's TH, everything's TH or Thibodeau or Boudreaux.
Well, the interesting part about the TH sound is that in French, there is no TH. They instead of saying that, they say dat. It's a D. That's what they do. And it's a lot of words that they do that with.
But do they do it with every word? Because like think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like think. Is it dink?
Yeah, it'd be dink, yeah. You know, I never really paid attention. It's not a strong D. It's kind of like an off D, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Like who dat?
Yeah. That.
You know?
I guess that is the thing. And always in the glass bubble, we got Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher, how you doing? How's your being able to speak Cajun?
Parlez-vous français?
That'll work. Yeah, so either way, I mean, that's pretty close.
Je m'appelle Bone Crusher. My name is Bone Crusher.
Je m'appelle Bone Crusher. Et toi?
Oh, man.
And you.
No. Yeah, I'm lost over here.
It'd be Je m'appelle would be my name is.
Uh-huh.
And then you put your name.
Oh, okay. I got you. Are you wanting me to do it? Because I really still didn't.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle Paul.
There you go. Boom. He got it.
I mean,
Bone Crusher. He's in our group now. Hey, how did we all got blue on today? It's weird.
Yeah, no memos sent out, so we all just on the same level. So it's probably going to be a good day.
I bet you we'll have some Hurricane fans, saying it's for Napier getting fired or something like that,
Probably so. Let's talk about something real quick to start the show. We always do this because we're just a sports show, but we also keep up with what's going on. A legend has passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Robert Redford, 89 years old. Passed away. They haven't come out with what happened or what's going on. 89's a long life. That's good. Possibly one of the best baseball movies to ever have, hit the motion picture. Roy Hobbs, The Natural. I mean, just a great movie.
Alfred Brimley was in that movie.
Yeah, it was just a great movie. I loved it.
Inspirational.
Watching him hit out of the bat that he made out of a tree.
The lightning.
That was hit by lightning. Yeah, I mean,
when I think of 80s sports movies, I think of Rudy and I think of The Natural.
Yeah.
Yeah,
those are like just stalwarts of movies that everybody in that era, because when you ask people about it, everybody always talks about, The Sandlot or Major League or anything like that.
Well, it's 90s.
Yeah, that's the difference. That's what I'm saying. The years that are passed through. So, but those are just
Friday Night Lights. People like Friday Night Lights a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a
huge fan of that.
It wasn't
And,
that great.
for my kids, The Sandlot is like a big movie for my kids.
Yeah.
And it came out before they were born, so.
Yeah, same way with my son.
It's got the nostalgia going on.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And, that having that dog across the fence, they made it look like Cujo. Do you remember Cujo?
Yeah, it was like
but I mean, Cujo was scary. I was scared of Cujo growing up.
I think of Cujo, I think of scary movies like from the 70s and all that. I also think of Carrie. There's a movie with a girl who's like, I don't know, I don't say possessed, but I think she was possessed.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's the old movie.
I always think of that, and then Friday the 13th with Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Poltergeist.
yeah. I mean, those were, and then Freddy Krueger.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I don't know.
So should we ask, what's your favorite horror movie or scary movie? Maybe the people can chime in.
I guess so. We could say, what's your scary movie? Maybe when you were younger, or whatever. It could be now or whatever. So, Bone Crusher, I know you like movies and all that. So, give me one of your movies that you were scared of when you were younger.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was like, your mom and dad, they would always tell you, like, when you're growing up, it's like, now, don't watch those scary movies. We want you to be able to go to sleep. We don't want you to have dreams. But it's like we snuck around and we would go to the kids that their parents didn't care. And we would watch the movies at their house. Normally, that's how they do. So if my mom and dad are listening, I'm sorry about that, Mom and Dad. I didn't, probably never told you that. But there's nothing you can do about it now.
He definitely never crawled through a window.
That's right. Yeah, don't want to crawl through a window because I was scared because of what I was watching. And there'd be something out there, especially living in the woods like we did.
Yeah.
So, but
what's the weird part is that I grew up in the suburbs of New Orleans, and my parents sheltered me. So I really didn't know much about, like what New Orleans, the party atmosphere and all that kind of stuff really growing up, other than Mardi Gras. But it was like the family Mardi Gras over in the suburbs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's a weird experience. And you grew up in Mobile?
Yeah, which is the birthplace of Mardi Gras.
Yes, and I won't disagree with it. My daughter would, but she's one of those hardliners over there in New Orleans. And so you got to experience Mardi Gras at an early age?
Yeah, just a little bit. There again, I was, we were in the suburbs as well. Yeah. So, it would take a little while to get there or whatever. So as a teenager, that was when I started going with my friends and that kind of stuff. We'd go to Mardi Gras, which my mom and dad, they would take us with my family. We'd all kind of go to there really wasn't any bad areas at that time. It was different. But
now it's Pritchard.
No.
I don't even know what's the bad area of Mobile, except for I've been told, because we went and toured South.
Yeah, South Alabama.
University of South Alabama, which is, ironically, isn't in the south part of Mobile.
Right.
Sort of in the north part, but right off campus, it's kind of a rough area.
That area is called Hillsdale.
Oh, okay.
And so, you got to be very careful over there. They actually put the stadium right by Hillsdale. Yeah. So, I mean, so either way, but it's all right. It's I think they've kind of bought the housing over there.
Now, let me tell you, their tour there to get my daughter interested in going there, A+.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They really do a great job. They have ambassadors that sell it. They love the university and everything at USA. And they call it South for short.
Yeah, one of our Facebook followers, Otis here, said that The Exorcist was terrifying, but the Chainsaw Massacre was very terrifying also. Yeah. Well, my mom and dad didn't let me watch The Exorcist. They were like, they didn't want none of that. And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think I was just too scared to go watch it. That was one of those things, I don't know. But now the Friday the 13th movie, they actually filmed in Alabama in a place called Bay Minette.
Oh yeah, I know where Bay Minette is. Yeah.
And one of my cousins, they lived over there in Bay Minette, and they got to go and like they snuck on the set or whatever at night or something and like watched while they were doing the scenes and stuff. You know, because that was a long time ago. They didn't have security and like they do now. It's kind of like whatever, you know. So kind of cool to watch that. But yeah, getting back to Robert Redford, you know, obviously he made a bunch of movies, but making that movie, Roy Hobbs, The Natural, it's just a great movie. I liked it, and I liked him as an actor. He played in that Spy Game movie.
Oh yeah.
With Brad Pitt. That was pretty cool how they did
I
some
liked
stuff.
him as I respected his craft.
Yeah.
He was definitely an artist as far as acting went. Paul Newman is another one that comes to mind when I think of Robert Redford.
We're really dating ourselves talking about these old guys because they're like really old.
But it gets a little sad, you know, when these guys that are icons, you know, pass away, and then you're like, oh wow, you know, these are really great people.
Yeah. So
you know, Gene Hackman, the other one earlier in May of this year.
Yeah, he passed away too.
Yeah.
Yep, he was one of the ones. Well, let's go into last night's football games. We had those, and, you know, we picked them, and I think we both picked the winners last night. The Bucks taking on the Texans. Now, I watched the game, and, you know, I'm just a big fan of Baker Mayfield. You can say what you want about his arm strength. You can say, well, he's not that tall, or you can say that he does throw interceptions, and all of those things that you say about him is true. But when you look at Baker Mayfield, he's got what you want for a quarterback. He's going to go out there and give you 100%. He's got that swagger about him. He's going to make plays. He's going to miss plays. But really, when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know, they don't have Chris Godwin right now. They've got the rookie out of Ohio State playing wide receiver. So he's kind of filled that void where Chris Godwin's been out. And then you got the future Hall of Famer Mike Evans, who's still a great wide receiver. He single-handedly, and I don't know if we've ever said this on the air before, but Mike Evans single-handedly won Johnny Manziel the Heisman Trophy. If you remember when they were both playing at A&M, and Johnny would do his Johnny football stuff, which is run around.
And
Mike
and slip out of people's grasp.
Yeah, now he was very elusive.
Yes.
He was very slippery. But if you watch some of the games and you watch some of the film on him, he would just throw the ball up and Mike Evans would go up and get it. Mike Evans would make the play. Yep. Now, don't get me wrong, he was good. Any quarterback that's good's got to have a good wide receiver, obviously. But you can say what you want, but Mike Evans is the reason why Johnny Manziel won the Heisman Trophy. That's my opinion. And there's really no possible way that anybody could change my mind on that.
My memory from that year is it was the Alabama game that he won the Heisman because of that elusiveness that he got out and upset Alabama. And that was a huge deal for A&M because let's be honest, they weren't beating Alabama very often.
No.
Maybe like twice in a decade.
Yeah, they wasn't very good at the time either. So, Kevin Summerlin was kind of like a new guy. He brought in the new offense, but only Johnny Manziel was really successful there because, Kyler Murray was there and didn't do anything. You know, he brought him in a few times, but Manziel took over and the rest is kind of history. But when you look at that guy, Mike Evans, and just see what he's done. I mean, the numbers that he's put up every year, solid all through his whole NFL career, and then having that year with Brady, that kind of put him on a mountain of saying, hey, this guy's definitely first ballot Hall of Famer. Just he's Super Bowl champ. Yeah. And I don't know his numbers, but they've always been good. You know what I mean?
I don't know if he's first ballot, though.
I mean, if Hines Ward makes it, he makes it.
Hines Ward makes it in the first ballot?
Yeah, didn't he make it already?
Really? In the first ballot?
I thought so.
Oh, my God. That's not good.
So Mike Evans is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer if he did. So
that blows me away.
But either way, last night, if you look at it, Baker Mayfield done enough to win. That's the thing, and they've got a running game. I mean, Bucky is a good running back. I didn't think so, but last night he really ran the ball hard. They needed him with the 4th and inches, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2s, all of that kind of stuff when they needed to score, and they handed the ball to him. That was pretty good because whether you know it or not, D'Amico Ryans and the Texans, their defense is stout. And that last night, it just seemed like it just felt like playoff football for whatever reason by the way they were hitting each other. I don't know if they were all just excited to be on Monday night or what, but there was some hitting going on last night. And, I mean, the Buccaneers, to me, they're looking really good. It's not always those teams that win by 30 or win by 20 or win by whatever, but they just find a way to win and they find a way to beat you.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts like that. Like Joe Flacco would just win games.
Right.
Was not spectacular. But, Baker Mayfield, he's way better than Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I think so, too.
And then also, I also had the thought that, with teams barely winning, the Texans gave them a chance. And they took it. The Bucs took it. And you're right. They don't blow teams away unless they're the Carolina Panthers. And maybe the Saints this year. It's going to be bad. I mean, okay, so let's talk future, though. I picked the Bucs to win the division. You probably did, too.
Yeah.
Now, the Falcons upset the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the Falcons can take a wild card this year?
I don't. Bone Crusher does. Bone Crusher does.
Oh, you were all wrong about the Vikings. Falcons won. So,
yeah. So he's like, well, I don't want to say the word because your son doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah. That's right.
But that's the word I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Well, you got to think the real reason why the Falcons won was because J.J. McCarthy is exactly who we thought he was, which is nothing. I mean, he's hurt.
Handing the ball off.
Yeah, he's hurt. And then you got Carson Wentz. Now, we talked about this about 3 weeks ago. I don't know if you remember this, but we had this conversation that Sam Darnold is Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz is the backup, and he's going to get the start this week coming from the Vikings. Now, how crazy would it be that if it really does happen and Carson Wentz starts leading the Vikings like Sam Darnold did last year, and the next thing you know is J.J. McCarthy is on the bench again, sitting behind Carson Wentz, who has resurrected his career.
Rejects from other teams.
Yeah. Kevin O'Connell.
Sam Darnold was with the Jets, right?
Yes.
And then
backed up at the 49ers.
Oh, that was it. So he has been 2 places.
Yep.
Carson Wentz, same deal. He was Colts after Eagles.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
And then he was at the Chiefs last year just as a backup. Never got to play but that one game against the Denver Broncos and didn't score.
That's got to be aggravating. Go to a team and not get a ring with you think you're going to get a ring with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, when you look at him, that's a possibility.
So let's talk quickly about, is it Bucky Irving?
Yes, the running back, number 7.
Running back. So 17 carries, 71 yards, not spectacular or anything like that. The other guy, White, looked a lot better. He got the better average yards, 10 for 65, 6.5 yards per carry. Yeah. That's great, and he covered up a fumble.
Yeah,
I believe.
But the thing,
thing is, the funny part about the whole Bucky thing is he led in receptions. He led the team in receptions.
Yeah. They threw the ball to him out of the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. In the flat and all that. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of contribution to the team.
But you know why they do that, right? Because D'Amico Ryan's teams are a happy blitz team.
Oh, yeah.
So what happens is he's the dump down guy, and he just dumped it down just about every time. But if you look at Bucky Irving, what he did last night, and it's not going to show in the stats, is the fact that when they needed 2 yards, when they needed 3 yards, when they needed 1 yard, he would get them.
Keep the drive alive.
He kept the drive alive. He scored his touchdown, and that's what you do. That's how you play winning football.
Yeah.
And that's what they did last night.
Sometimes it's a game of inches, and, you just get it at the right time.
Yeah. And then let's look at the Houston Texans. Like, if you look at C.J. Stroud.
So let's be honest. In that division, 90% of people were picking the Texans to win the division.
Yes.
The Colts are 2-0. Are the Texans
1-1?
Oh, they're 1-1. Okay. So they're still in the hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not counting anybody out for being 2 games back, especially the Chiefs. But I mean, does it have your wheels turning that, maybe the Texans won't win the division?
I don't think they will. I don't see Nick Chubb.
It's going to be head on. That's the way that the Colts. That's the only way that the Colts can steal that division.
Yeah. Well, and this is the other thing is you've got a Houston Texans team that is at best mediocre at running back. I mean, Nick Chubb was their running back last night. He was like 45, 46 yards last night, and just no production at the running back position.
And Stroud's the second biggest, rushing person on the team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And he's not very mobile. I mean, he can run a little bit, but that's not his game. And last night, though, this is what would be concerning more than anything else, is the fact that last night he missed several people.
Yeah.
They were open. Not like, getting rushed and getting hit and having to move out of the pocket. And then he also, if you remember last year, he had times where he would move himself into a sack. Instead of stepping out of the pocket or stepping up in the pocket, he would do the opposite.
Well, what are the coaches telling him? Stay in the pocket, stay in the pocket.
Well, they're telling him to move in the pocket, and he's moving the wrong way, and that's the biggest thing. And so, here we are again talking about another, and I'm going to say it, another Ohio State quarterback that just isn't panning out in the pros. And we'll give you Tua, that's fine, but still, if you look at it, Ohio State does not produce good quarterbacks.
No, yeah, and that's been their thing. But then 2 years ago, C.J. Stroud, Rookie of the Year, I believe he was.
Yeah, he was.
He had great stats, and everybody's like, oh, wow, there's an Ohio State quarterback that does well, and then,
nope.
No, I'm not saying nope yet. I think the jury's a little still out. He's got the job. He's at a good organization that wins divisions, maybe the worst division, in all of football, but, he's still winning.
At this moment, the best quarterback in that division is Daniel Jones, based off of numbers.
You knocking on my sunshine.
Oh, man. Indiana Jones in the house.
Hey, what happened with the tickets to the are we giving away the tickets for us next? No, it's this upcoming week.
This is Sunday, right? Yep,
That's
this
right.
Sunday. Yeah, and don't forget, if you text in the word Jacksonville to 850-215-6290, you can be entered to win Jacksonville Jaguar tickets. They're going to be playing these same Texans that we're talking about.
You're right.
So that could be a great game because they both need a victory in the division. That's a division game. They need it.
It's huge.
So, and that's the key is Sunshine going to outplay C.J. Stroud? And that's the thing. So right now, as it sits, do you think Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than C.J. Stroud?
I think they're equals.
You'd be about the same?
Yeah. So and you remember what I said? I remember it was about 2 weeks ago. I said, maybe 3 weeks ago, I said Trevor Lawrence, maybe 12th best quarterback in the league. And y'all were like, oh, no, there ain't no way.
Yeah. I still don't think he's that good. I don't think he's great, but I do think he's better than C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud.
Is he better than Kyler Murray?
Yes.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of average quarterbacks that Trevor Lawrence is better than.
But a lot of those guys, you got to know that when we're filtering our idea, when we take that pause, when you ask, is this quarterback better than this quarterback? We all are going back to what they were in college because we remember how great they were. We remember what Kyler Murray was like. We remember what C.J. Stroud was like against Georgia. We remember, what Trevor Lawrence did against Alabama. Like, we remember what they did, and then it's like some of them, they might have great plays, but they're not, their whole body of work is not very good. And that's the big problem that is happening with Trevor Lawrence. It's happening with Bryce Young. It's C.J. Stroud. These guys are not consistently good.
So did C.J. Stroud, he got one playoff victory 2 years ago, right?
Yes, as a rookie.
And guess what Trevor Lawrence has?
One as well.
One over the Chargers. They had to come back. I mean, they were way down.
Yeah.
They had to come back. So that's one thing they have in common. I think this is be a very important game, and the Colts are going to be watching.
Yeah.
Well,
and you got to look at, too, when you look at the Texans, DeMeco Ryans is a defensive coach. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the Jaguars, Liam Cohen is an offensive coach.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to see more numbers, better numbers by Trevor Lawrence than you will C.J. Stroud based off of the coach, just like the whole Mike Tomlin effect.
Yeah.
Realistically, Mike Tomlin doesn't have good quarterback numbers because he's a defensive coach. They like to run the ball. They like to put their defense in a good position.
But is that defense going to put so much pressure on Trevor Lawrence that he can't get to 300 yards passing?
Maybe. But, you know,
Because look at last night. They weren't even close to 300. They didn't even break 250 last night. Either one of those first game, you know.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's why you look at – that's why I'm thinking C.J. Stroud is a no for me. I'm, you know, second – this is his third year. Last year there was some real – I mean, he really dropped down last year. But that's what we do. We look at these guys. You look at Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, all these guys that did so well in college and came from winning programs, winning football games. And it was a lot because of who they were surrounded by, but it was also a lot by who they were. They were good in college, every single one of them. I mean, Kyler Murray won the Heisman. Trevor Lawrence won national title. Bryce Young won the Heisman and national title as a backup.
And you know who doesn't get exposed?
Who?
And it's Burrow, because he's got Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So now he's got the same guy. So if he didn't have Jamar Chase, could he get exposed just like all these other guys? Would he be like a 10 through 20 quarterback and not a top 10?
Yeah, because if the Bengals had not been able to draft Burrow, and then his first year he looked not very good, like all of them do.
Yeah, and last place because the Browns were better.
Right, and then they get a first-round draft pick. They pick Jamar Chase, and then the next thing you know,
he's throwing to his brother.
He's throwing to somebody he's been throwing to, and then there's like, oh man, he's the greatest quarterback ever to play in Bengals history.
Goes and loses Super Bowl, and it was really, really close.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird because he can't get exposed because he's got Jamar Chase, where these other guys kind of can get exposed.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, but we went over. We'll talk about it when we come back from the break, and we'll have Taylor Devers to talk some smack about the Miami Hurricanes. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Reach out and smack someone. Call or text now. 850-215-6290. The Red 17 Studio Line.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've got tickets to every single Jacksonville Jaguars home game this season. And if you want to grab a pair of tickets for the Jaguars versus the Texans on Sunday, September 21st, text Jacksonville to 850-215-6290. Text Jacksonville to 850-215-6290. Your home for the NFL. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze at 8 miles per hour out of the south-southwest and temps near 87. Tonight we will have clear skies and a wind speed of 3 miles per hour and be warm at 73. Sunny tomorrow and a high 87. Sunshine Thursday with a temp of 87. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Krispy Kreme Donuts has whipped up a little magic for Harry Potter fans. A donut collection inspired by the House of Hogwarts, the Sorting Hat, and a shimmering golden latte. The Harry Potter collection now available for a limited time at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts since 1937, where you get them hot.
The Kings of the Swamp.
Ball's loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
Join Sean Kelly and the rest of the broadcast team as they bring you Gator football all season long.
Foot race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football, the Gator Sports Network from Learfield.
The Florida Gators play here. Listen to select games on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. This is the Sports Blitz. We don't just talk sports. We start fires. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back on the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. We're so happy to have you here with us listening, whether you're listening on the actual radio, if you're listening on Facebook, YouTube, ESPN Northwest Florida app, whichever avenue you choose to listen to, we appreciate it. And we are so blessed to have with us on the phone line Taylor Devers, Chop Chat, Norvell Central. Taylor, you had an off week. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good here, sitting with old Bobby Boucher in the booth over here. He's drinking his Pepsi and thinking about his mama.
It's a wonderful day, you know.
But hey, listen, real quick, Taylor. We had went over some of the things before you had called in, and so we still got one game I wanted to chat with us about, and you can feel free to jump in anytime if you were able to watch it. But the Chargers and the Raiders played last night, and you know it went the way we thought it would go. But the real thing that kind of is glaring for us is the fact that the offense was very stagnant. And Jeff, you brought up a good point in the break. With 11 minutes and 50 seconds. 15. 11:15 left in the game. Pete Carroll and the Raiders are down by 2 touchdowns.
14, yeah. 14
and
points.
they go and kick a field goal. So it's not looking good for Geno Smith. I mean, he's been there for a while. And, or I say he's been there for a while. He's been in the league for a while. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe age is kind of catching up to him. But him and Pete, they ain't getting it going on the offensive side of the ball. Taylor, now, do you watch a little bit of the NFL?
I do. I'm actually a Packers fan, believe it or not.
What? Oh, my gosh.
He's celebrating.
Oh, man, your teams are doing good this year. It's good to be a Taylor Devers in the house.
1,000%. My family is actually from Mississippi, so big Brett Favre fan.
There you go. I was going to say, how'd you get that away? And yeah. Because we had talked about it on one show last week about, I was giving them a little education that Brett Favre's from the Kill. Yeah, right near Bay St. Louis and all that. And I lived in Slidell, which is like 16 miles away. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a bunch of Packers fans in southern Mississippi especially.
Yeah.
No doubt. It was a very gross game. Actually, I brought Bowers on my fantasy football team, and yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do. Yeah, they didn't do anything. It was just like they just could not move the ball. Ashton Genty, with all the publicity, all the stuff that he's getting right now, obviously it's looking like they're going to just stack the box and dare them to run and make Geno beat you. And that seems like the recipe for success because they just could not move the ball last night. And the old Auburn grad Carlson kicked all the field goals like he used to at Auburn.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. I mean, I had Keenan Allen on my bench, so there's that. So
yeah.
It didn't help much.
Yeah, for real. But either way, I think the Raiders, you know, as much as the excitement of bringing Pete Carroll back to the NFL, I don't know. This might be one of those duds because the offense. I mean, this is a different type of NFL now. You got to be able to score points. You can't just rely on your defense and run game as much. You've got to be able to throw the ball around, and I'm not so sure if the Raiders have got what it takes to be able to throw the ball around.
I just don't understand. I really you kind of look at it as the Raiders possibly being a final destination for a coach, just like Florida. I mean, it's kind of rough.
Oh, here we go. Shots fired. Yeah, so, you know, I get what you're saying. Have you been... I guess you have. I'm sure you have. Have you been watching all the stuff that's been going on with Florida? We did a poll, and still Billy Napier is in the lead for losing his job before Mike McDaniel for the Dolphins. And, of course, Kalen DeBoer, he's coming in a far distant third because they're doing well now as far as, you know, we'll see 2 weeks away. You play them Georgia Bulldogs, so we'll see how it goes there. But, yeah, so what have you heard any more information about Billy? Do you want to give us your take on how everything's going with Florida right now?
Personally, I think it's kind of like last year. Everyone's kind of doubting them right now. This is a pivotal stretch for them, and you saw last year they kind of got a sluggish first kind of start to the season. Next thing you know, they won to kind of close out the year, and his job was safe. It kind of reminds me a little bit about that, but DJ Lagway is seeing ghosts, and he looked clueless out there. It just was a mess all around. I don't know if he can overcome that.
Yeah, that was a big deal. I mean, we had some Florida fans yesterday calling in or texting in, and they're not. And I'm not disagreeing with you about last year, but the difference this year is like it's like, okay, this stretch outside of reincarnate Tim Tebow coming and playing on the field, I have no confidence in this team winning 2 out of the next 4, let alone not going 0 for 4.
I wonder about this too, and this is kind of something fans have talked about as Billy Napier being on the hot seat, probably the next coach. But realistically, I think Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State could probably be next before he does.
Yeah, they're looking really bad. When you look at what Oregon did to them, and then just the way that how they did it, it was disgusting. And then the way, his I don't know how you present his personality coming out in the and doing a lot of that talking didn't really bid well for him. But when you look at Florida, the good thing that you can take away is that the fact that they had 5 interceptions and they still only gave up 20 points. Now, is that the lack of play from Garrett Nussmeier and the LSU Tigers, or is it really, that this Florida defense is really a good group and they know what they're doing and they're going to be able to keep themselves in games as long as they don't give the games away? Or was it just one of those things where Brian Kelly was very, very vanilla in the play calling and decided they figured they were going to win this game, and it was just like, let's don't give too much away what we're doing because we feel like this game's in the bag?
I'll say this, reporting 101, when a team wins a game, do not start off as their offense can't move the ball or they can't run. Brian Kelly absolutely ate that reporter alive, and they won the game. They played to win the game. They won the game. Their running game looks terrible, but they were able to do it. I don't really think Nussmeier is a top SEC quarterback. I do think he's top 5, but just overall, that offense, especially on third down, is oof. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, see, I don't think Nussmeier is a top 5 quarterback in the SEC for sure. After watching all of the games that being played, I mean, he just does not have the arm talent. I get it. He's been there. He knows the offense. He knows what he's doing. But to me, he is not. I don't need to see any more games with Garrett Nussmeier in there to change my opinion about him. If he goes out there and they win all the games, go in the playoff and win all the games and all that, and he's still throwing for 200 yards and their running game's playing good and their defense is playing good, you still can't convince me that Garrett Nussmeier is a top 5 quarterback. And the thing is that I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he's got that whip in his arm. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Quinn Ewers, where Quinn was a good college quarterback as long as he had players that were really good and that he could have time to stand back and throw. He's cerebral. He can see the field. He knows what he's looking at. He's smart. I get all that. But just like, to me, the arm talent, the ability to scramble, the ability to change plays and all of those things, I just don't see Garrett Nussmeier being the thing. And I think that's where, if you shut down LSU's run game, I think, and make Garrett Nussmeier beat you and really cause some kind of schemes against them that allows them to hit him a lot, I think he'll get gunshot, and I think he'll release that ball a little early. And I just don't think he's that great.
But the defense is giving him the ball
5 times,
20 times a game. I mean, you have so many chances to have the ball. I mean, you're going to win eventually. Every squirrel gets his nut.
Yeah.
And are you going to put him in like 7th best?
Probably
in the SEC?
7, 8, somewhere around there.
So we said yesterday, what was it? Georgia, Tennessee, Vandy. You didn't agree with the Vandy on being number 3, Diego, the quarterback.
Yeah, I think as far as I'm not saying draft picks.
And then Sellers, Texas A&M, and maybe Ole Miss, and then you probably have maybe Nussmeier. Maybe he is 7.
I mean, I think Ty Simpson is as
here we go.
I think Ty Simpson probably, as far as arm talent and being able to scramble.
Okay, we'll visit that later, like we're visiting Lagway right now. So wait a minute, Taylor. Who's playing this weekend? It's Florida and Miami, right? Who you for?
Mm-hmm. Can I pick
we're
either?
jumping.
Can I pick a tie? Can I?
No,
you don't. You want both to lose?
Yes, please.
Well, let me ask you this.
I guess I would say Miami because, I want Florida State Miami to have a top 10 matchup.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen. But before we go to that, Jeff, jumping forward, I want to know what y'all think because I want to look at this quarterback deal. So is DJ Lagway in the top? Because he was like number 3 or number 4 before the season started, even into the second game before this past weekend. He was still being talked about being the 3rd best quarterback. Lenore Sellers was in there. Garrett Nussmeier was in there. Arch Manning was in there. All of these guys that are all in the top that everybody is saying has y'all's list changed? Who's the number 1 quarterback in the SEC
if
right now?
If Arch is not in the top 7, Arch Manning, right, and he's in the top 10, now we have to – and I'm telling you, Lagway's dropped off more than Arch has.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, probably so.
Because throwing 5 interceptions is giving the game away.
Yeah.
So Lagway's not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
Not even a top 10 in the SEC.
But Billy Napier says that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And so he's not just saying
that's
SEC.
a guy who's about to get fired.
Yeah. So, Taylor, give me your top guys in the SEC at quarterback.
Personally, right now, I think Mateer's got to be up there from Oklahoma.
Oh, Mateer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really good quarterback. I still am out there with Aguilar from Tennessee. I'm give or take. I think that Georgia defense their secondary is not that great. Front 7 is fantastic, but I do like Austin Simmons, but I wish he would air the ball out a little bit more. That kind of scares me a little bit. I'm not out on the Nussmeier thing. I actually think Nussmeier is still good. I think he's better than Pavia from Vanderbilt. I think those are kind of your top 4 there. I think Simpson has a chance if he's able to beat a Georgia, kind of get some confidence rolling. I like that kid from Arkansas too, Tylen Green, but we'll see. I think those are kind of your 5 there. Sellers doesn't really impress me. He hasn't impressed me all year. Lagway's not really a guy that impressed me either. Marcel Reed, So there's a couple of guys there that aren't really the greatest in the world.
Yeah, see, that's where me and you differ on that. I think Mateer's good. I don't think Austin Simmons. I think they've got a problem in Ole Miss that there's a possibility. And we talk to Steve Barnes every week on Mondays, and he's definitely a big Austin Simmons because, he always talks about every Monday. And Steve, he's probably not listening right now, but either way, I usually give him a hard time about it. I'm like, I'm tired of hearing he graduated at 16 and he graduated from college at 19. I get it, but show me some victories on the field. Don't get hurt. Throw a pass and let somebody catch it. But Trinidad Chambliss, which is their Division II transfer that came in against Kentucky, and they said, yeah, we'll keep staying with him, even when Simmons came back and said, I'm fine. And then last week, winning with him at the helm, and he had a great, he had rushed for 2 touchdowns. He threw for like 250 yards. I think he only had like 5 or 6 incomplete passes. That guy is legit. So Austin Simmons, to me, still not proven. I agree with you. I like what Vanderbilt does with how do you say his name, Pavia or whatever his name is. But either way, Diego, I like how he does it. I think Marcel Reed is kind of starting to push himself into, more of a guy that's elusive and is, if he can learn how to throw on the run, he'd be phenomenal. But you've got those quarterbacks. All of those guys, to me, are just all the same guy. Like Gus Meyer, Stockton, even Ty Simpson, when he was playing against Florida State, they just kind of look like they're moving in mud. You know what I mean? At times. And so it's getting to the place where you got to be able to move. You got to be able to get outside the pocket. You got to be able to create. And, those guys just aren't saying. So, Jeff, who is your top? Give me your top guys as far as SEC quarterbacks right now.
Well, I said Gunnar Stockton and Joey Aguilar are kind of neck and neck at 1-2. I put Diego at number 3.
Yeah.
He's winning games, scored 31 on South Carolina. They handled it.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know. I'm really not usually, Mateer. I almost forgot Oklahoma's even in the SEC. For a second there, and now I remembered, oh, yeah, that guy, Because, I mean, these other guys have dropped off. Nussmeier, Arch Manning, and Lagway. They've all dropped off, And Simmons, I'm saying the thing with you on Simmons. I'm not impressed. And I think my daughter is, but who cares,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Those guys, and then, so when you talk about those guys, so everybody's kind of changing their opinion about Arch. Everybody's changing their opinion about
Nussmeier.
And
Lagway.
Yeah, I mean,
Lagway stats.
Lagway.
Trash.
And then you got, now Lenore Sellers, he got hurt. So you really couldn't see what they were doing. They got their eyes beat out really bad. I mean, Vandy whooped them. It wasn't close. Once he went out, it was like Vanderbilt turned it up, but still their defense just couldn't stop anybody. I think that, for me, was a big surprise that South Carolina's defense is really not that good.
So I did have a question for y'all. Y'all can ponder on this and kind of feel how you feel on this, but if Jackson Arnold goes to Oklahoma and beats his former team, does Jackson Arnold get classified as a top 5 SEC quarterback?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think Oklahoma right now, they're 1, 2, 3 in the top of the SEC right now. I think they can do everything. They play good defense. They can run the ball. Mm-hmm. Their quarterback is elusive. I think they have a big time opportunity to really make a big push, even though they've got the hardest schedule in the SEC. If they come out with just 2 losses in the SEC, I mean, they're definitely got a chance to win the national championship. But I'm just saying, yes, if Jackson Arnold takes Auburn over there and they beat Oklahoma, I mean, that'd have to be a huge upset. And then you're talking about Jackson Arnold in that top 5 for sure. Jeff, what do you think about that?
Not top 3. He's not a top 3 quarterback now. I don't even know. It just depends how he does, You can't turn over the ball for sure, to be in the top 3 for him. Auburn's probably the most elusive team that we can't really pin down now, because now that Vanderbilt's beat South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is it Oklahoma? Actually, Oklahoma and Auburn are probably the most teams that we have to figure out. Where are they on the pendulum of, SEC teams? Because we have, 8 teams, or we have a lot of teams ranked.
Yeah.
That's like a 10.
Yeah. Well, ridiculous. Let's go to our Facebook page. What we've learned is that Mateer comes in from the Pac-12s and becomes the best SEC quarterback. And they think that we're underrating Marcel Reed. So Marcel Reed and Mateer are the class of the SEC. That's what people are saying. And then it's called off-season hype. The SEC is great until the season starts. Well, shots fired.
Okay, and now Jaden Daniels came from the Pac-12.
Yep, Arizona State.
And guess what? Oregon won the Big Ten last year. Where are they from? The Pac-12. And who won the Big 12 last year? It's Arizona State. So now here we are talking about Pac-12. They weren't that trashy in the end.
Yeah.
And Oregon's still doing it.
Well, that's the key. But when we come back, we'll talk more about this. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Taking your hot takes, rants, and takedowns. Let's hear it on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
world's #1 auto brand is a lot of fun. Camrys and Tacomas, Land Cruisers and Grand Highlanders. Toyotas are just built to be better.
And that's exactly how we built Panama City Toyota, to give you a better experience.
Where your needs always come first. Where you can relax with a great cup of coffee or browse the Heritage Collection. While we help you add the perfect vehicle to your collection. Come see us today at Panama City Toyota.
College Football Saturday on ESPN Radio. It's a showdown in the SEC.
Arnold, deep shot to the end zone.
Jackson Arnold leads the 3-0 and 22nd ranked Auburn Tigers into Oklahoma to face his former team, the 3-0 11th ranked Sooners.
Kickoff Saturday, 2:30 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Master, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Sports Blitz.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're so glad that you're listening with us. You can text in. You can call in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. We've been talking a lot about the SEC. We want to look at some more things that we're talking about. We're joined here by Taylor Devers from Chop Chat, Norvale Central. You know, Taylor, I just pulled it up. I wanted to go back in time and look at it, and I want to read both of you and Jeff. And Taylor, I want you to respond first. But back on September the 3rd, this is the SEC quarterback power rankings. This is Wednesday, September the 3rd. Listen to the names of how they ranked them, and listen to how much this list has possibly changed. Number 1, Nussmeier. Number 2, Sellers. Number 3, Mateer. Number 4, Lagway. Number 5, Manning. Number 6, Green. Number 7, Pavia. Number 8, Reed. Number 9, Stockton. Number 10, Arnold. Number 11, Aguilar. Number 12, Simmons. Number 13, Simpson. Number 14, Pribula. Number 15, Chapin. And number 16, Calzada. Taylor, how much has that list changed from 2 weeks ago?
That is disgusting. That shows you right there. Preseason polls, preseason rankings do not matter.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
But the biggest three that I think of changed, and actually, maybe it's my algorithm. I kept on hearing about Arch Manning before the season started. If they put him as 5th, there was no poll that I was reading at that time that had him 5th. They were all or 1 or 2.
Well, they had already played Ohio State.
Oh, they had already played Ohio State. That's why it dropped.
That's why it dropped.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the two biggest movers on there then is Gunnar Stockton and Joey Aguilar, who just played against each other. And look what the score was. It 42-41?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of scoring.
Points. Yeah, against, you know, and I know you had said that the defense, you know, the back end for Georgia wasn't that good, but, you know, realistically, if you can get the ball off against that front seven that they've got there at Georgia, I think Aguilar played outstanding, really, against, you know, you're going to throw an interception if you're throwing the ball. If you're whipping the ball around a little bit, you're going to throw a pick. I don't care. Somebody's going to tip it. You're going to throw it to the wrong person. You're going to make a bad read. You're going to do something. They're going to put pressure on you. They're going to rush your throw. You know, hit your arm while you're throwing. All of those things happen, and that's just part of being, you know, a quarterback. But, you know, when you look at Aguilar, he really has come out and played really good. As far as what you think, though, Taylor, as far as outside of Mateer, who is that second quarterback? Are you a big believer in Stockton like Jeff is, or are you more of an Aguilera guy? Or Aguilar?
I think you have to go directly by wins. He gets the job done. I mean, let's face it, that 4th down throw that he had against Tennessee in that right end zone was absolutely incredible on 4th down. I mean, that was a big man throw right there on national TV. When you got to have it, good quarterbacks deliver, and he did.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like one of the listeners said, when you throw that high arch, you know, touch pass it's just hard to catch. I mean, it's hard to defend. It really is. I mean, and that's the big thing is that, you know, when they needed him the most, and I'll be the one to say I'll be a big proponent against Gunnar Stockton. I don't see it from him. I think he's a poor man's Garrett Nussmeier. I just do not see him being, you know, somebody that's going to be able to lead Georgia to a national title. I think he'll be good enough to manage the games and do okay. But, man, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan. I guess maybe I don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks. But either way, him and Nussmeier, to me, they're just okay.
I don't know. I mean, realistically in that conference, who is a definite game changer in that conference that you can say, wow, they make plays with their arms, they are going to be a Heisman Trophy type winner? I think all you really need is a game manager. As long as you're not throwing 5 interceptions in a game, you give your chance a chance to win.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I can answer that question for you. I think Mateer is that kind of guy. He's that kind of player. I think, I'm probably going to get beat up for this one, but I think Trinidad Chambliss is like that guy, and I think Diego Pavia is that guy. I think you put those 3 guys on any team in the SEC with a decent running back and a good defense, I mean, they're winning ball games because they're that good.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. Diego, he doesn't have people around him. He does not have the whole team to help him out.
No.
And he's a top 4 quarterback, in my opinion, in the SEC, just in the SEC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these other guys, they got a team around him to keep him in the game. Look at Nico Amalivim.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good at Tennessee, or at least above average, right? I mean, he made it to the playoffs, 10-2.
Yeah.
He had a team around him, and now he's practically homeless in Los Angeles.
Right. That's true. I mean, yeah. So,
if Diego goes somewhere else, he probably would pan out. Some of these other guys, I don't know. You don't have a team around you.
Yeah.
Can't pan it out.
I just wonder what Gunnar Stockton would look like on Vanderbilt. I wonder what Garrett Nussmeier would look like on Vanderbilt.
Carson Beck on Vanderbilt.
Oh, I think
about it.
Wait a minute.
You're a big Carson Beck fan.
I'm a Carson Beck fan. I think he. You know what I mean. We're going to talk about all of that when we get back in.
There's a couple of weeks where Vanderbilt's going to slip by, and then they're going to have like 5 opponents in a row. They're just going to be, incredible. And actually, the 5th one, after like 4 of them, they got like Auburn behind them, who's also ranked.
Yeah,
Auburn's ranked.
Yeah,
and we're 5 opponents in a row that are ranked for Vanderbilt. They have what's coming to them.
Yeah, I mean, if they're legit, and if they're who they say they are, and if they are who they think they are,
no, they're going to hit a wall. No, and it's the first one they have in that 5-game stretch at Alabama.
Come on, come on, yeah.
And guess who's they're eyeing up Alabama. Alabama's just taking it 1 week at a time because they have big opponents like Georgia in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, when you look at it, it's going to be quite interesting what happens over the SEC weeks coming up. And we've talked this hour a lot about the SEC, but when we come back, we're going to be talking more about the ACC. We're going to talk about Florida State. We're going to talk about Miami, and we'll probably talk about Clemson. You've been listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Call in now.
This is Touchstone service.
The Red 70s studio line is open.
Demonstrate how to make a call with your dial telephone.
850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Rex Ryan said Russell Wilson can't play. That was a week ago. Can Russ still play? Now he's somewhere in between week 1 and week 2. Russ can throw the deep ball, and Dallas let him throw the deep ball. But Rex Ryan said Russell Wilson can't play anymore. You stand by that?
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Mostly sunny the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze at 8 miles per hour out of the south-southwest and temps near 87. Tonight we will have clear skies and a wind speed of 3 miles per hour and be warm at 73. Sunny tomorrow and a high 87. Sunshine Thursday with a temp of 87. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
Looking for the most romantic night out in Panama City? Ferrucci Ristorante is your destination for authentic Italian cuisine and unforgettable moments. The candlelight, the wine, the homemade pasta. It's like a little slice of Italy. From handcrafted sauces to centuries-old recipes, Ferrucci brings true Italian flavor to every plate. It's where love stories begin and anniversaries are celebrated. To reserve your table, call 850-913-9131. Ferrucci Ristorante, Panama City's most romantic escape.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Kings of the Swamp.
Ball's loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
The Gators renew their rivalry with the Miami Hurricanes.
Quick race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football.
Gators at Hurricanes. Saturday, kickoff at 6:30 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Can you take the hits? Here comes the Sports Blitz. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You didn't think you were going to make it, but you did, baby. You're out of there. You got 3 more days of this week to go. We're so thankful that you're listening in, whether you're listening on Facebook, whether you're listening in your car or you're in your truck on the way home to eat some good dinner or maybe to a nice restaurant. But anyway, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 7 Tees phone line, 850-215-6290. We're having a great time. We've been talking a lot about SEC football. We've got Taylor Devers on the line from Chop Chat, the Florida State Seminole superfan, analyst, insider, Norvell Central, the Mike Norvell fan club president. We've got him in here with us. And I will tell you, Florida State coming into this year was not looked on as what they are right now. And wow, what a difference. Have you guys gotten anybody back that's been injured or nicked up a little bit that you're excited about coming into this week against Kent State?
Mm-hmm. Right now, there's not too many people that are coming back from injury. He basically said that everybody on the squad right now has not really had a significant injury. So they're all kind of counting them back to the Virginia game, possibly in the next week on a Friday night. It's a shorter week, so the squad is really not going to go out there and have their starters out there for 3 quarters. It's probably going to go to halftime, and as we saw with East Texas A&M, we had a 49-0 halftime lead. It's probably going to be much of the same against the Golden Flashers, but just overall, I think this is going to be a game where Florida State's going to have to get their guys in there, get them reps, and get them out.
So you don't think this is going to be one of those games where, you know, you have a lot of frustration, have some drop passes, fumbles, you know, interceptions, stuff like that, that'll make them have to stay in the game because they're looking forward to that big matchup with Virginia? Because whether people want to say anything about Virginia, they haven't looked great this year, but it's one of those games that you've got to go play and you've got to win. And sometimes we can kind of look past a team like Kent State that, you know, did break their 21-game losing streak. But, I agree with you. I know it's going to be probably easy, but the fact is, what do you think outside of moving past the Kent State game? What do you think that, what do you think the Florida State faithful are looking for? Are they looking for, let's see who our backups are when they watch this game?
Personally, I think there's going to be a couple guys you're going to look at. Like the first one I think you're going to look at is Micah Danzy. He's a Tallahassee native, track star, lightning fast 400-meter time, Olympic track fast type of runner. I don't know exactly if he's going to start as being a track star or more of a football star later in his career. He definitely might have to look at track and really understand that, hey, that might be your calling. But Florida State's got him on a lot of these reverses. In the last couple games. You saw that against Alabama, too, with his big run there. He hasn't done much in the passing game when he moved to wide receiver, but I think this could be an opportunity for him to kind of explode on the offensive end because he's only had 2 catches for 14 yards. This is not somebody that's had a glaring number of stats, and I think Danzy's going to be that kind of guy you're going to have to look for in the passing game, kind of getting out behind the defense.
Right. How do you feel like Tommy Castellanos has really taken on this stardom that he's finally getting? Because obviously he's been a confident kid. They've been really high on him. How do you think he's been handling it so far? I know we're early in the season, but, there are people that are talking Heisman. They are talking, leading Florida State into the playoffs, ACC championship, that kind of stuff. How's he been handling it?
Yeah, so Tommy's a very confident kid, but he also understands, too, this team needs to go 1-0 every single week. They have to get to that point. Tommy's only thrown 25 times in 2 games. So it's not like he's had a big sample size of passing numbers and volume. He's probably never going to have the volume enough to get him to New York to even be a finalist. But I will say that as long as you're keeping Tommy's passing attempts down, you're getting his intermediate passes kind of accurate, and making sure he's in that 60 to 62% range as he's kind of like a career 57 pass percentage kind of guy. If he's able to do that, and he's able to run and get you 40, 45 yards a game, I mean, that's really respectable in terms of his production and what he brings to the table, and I think that could really elevate Florida State to the next level.
Yeah, that's what I think, too. I think he's just going to be that guy that's able to run the football with Gus running the plays and calling the plays again. I'm going to say it again. I know I always say it. It looks like Nick Marshall out there. It really reminds me of it. It does still scare me for Florida State and Florida State fans that, him being so small and being thrown around and running the ball all the time and all that. I just worry about that. So as we look at the schedule, now that you've kind of seen some body of work, who is it that scares you the most as far as on Florida State's schedule?
It's got to start with Miami. Obviously, you want to win the Virginia game and get past that hurdle. And Miami's all talk. Obviously, they've been all talk for the past 20, 25 years. We know that. I mean, we know how it is. We know how Miami is. It honestly wouldn't surprise me to see Florida go in there and have a competitive game. I said that last week. And, Jeff, I am so sorry that I ended up betting against and saying Florida would win that game because Lagley just proved to me that he still sucks. So let's just be honest there. But overall, if Florida State is able to get through that Miami game, you're looking at the rest of that schedule. Like Pittsburgh's going to be a look-ahead game, but I mean Stanford, Wake Forest, and then you got Clemson, and we'll really see what Clemson's going to be after that. But it all starts with that Miami game and it ends with them. You can't let that game define you, but I do think they're going to look at that game and say, we have to have our best product on the field, and Tommy's going to have to be on his best game at that point.
So I was first surprised that there's only 3 ACC teams ranked, and all the power moves south because it's Georgia Tech, Miami, and Florida State are the only 3 teams. Now, outside of Miami and Florida State, like you were saying, which I totally agree with, this is a showdown, a big showdown. It should be a game of the week. I'm not sure what else is going on that week, but the 3 teams that I'm looking at, and I've looked at their schedule now, is NC State because they're undefeated, and they have 3 weak opponents coming up, and then they hit a brick wall. They're going to fall apart because they got like 5 games in a row that they probably could lose, and it all starts at Notre Dame. So I don't have confidence in NC State. Of course, Louisville has one of these schedules where, they could slip here and there and maybe slip into ACC championship, but it's not more than a 50% chance. We'll just say that. And then I look at Georgia Tech. And we got a 3-0 start. They already took care of Clemson. But guess who's not on their schedule? I don't see any Miami or Florida State on their schedule.
Yep.
This is a team, Georgia Tech is the one that could slip through. The rest of the schedule is this. Temple, at Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, at Duke, Syracuse, at NC State, at Boston College, Pitt, and Georgia. The only one I'm worried about is really Georgia. I mean, there's a couple of them that maybe they could lose it, like at NC State. But for the most part, this is the elusive team with no Florida on the schedule.
I will say this, Jeff. You when you mentioned Temple, you did not put an asterisk next to it and say it was going to be on the CW network.
Oh,
you didn't mention that.
Hey, and am I correct? I think 2 or 3 weeks ago you said Georgia Tech to the ACC championship?
Yep, that's right.
You're the one. Clemson. You're the one. I said Louisville. I said Louisville and Clemson, and now look at where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Clemson's completely out, and Louisville is maybe 4th best maybe in the conference, and they're not ranked because they ain't played nobody.
Would you classify Clemson as fully out? Logistically, yes, they probably are out, but I'm saying with one ACC loss. Are they out?
No.
They got to win out.
They got to win the table. They got to run the table.
They got to run the table.
But you said something that, really when you look at it, Georgia Tech's got the easiest path. But I will say this, Taylor, you definitely know how to make people happy. Because I'm going to read you something on here that says, fire the phone guy. He's been horrible since week 1 talking about them Hurricanes.
Oh,
so either way, when you look at it, the big game, for Florida State, I think that they could lose one against Miami, and it wouldn't be a big problem. I think it's just like Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech could lose to Georgia. Georgia Tech could sit all of their starters against Georgia and not even play and still go and play in the college football playoff, as well as play in the ACC championship with 1 loss. Because if they were to lose to Georgia, it wouldn't really matter. And that's the thing about it. That's where it's starting to get kind of like where you're playing against rivals. And I know people in Georgia that follow Georgia Tech or follow Georgia Bulldogs. I know that they want to win every game. Every fan does. But when you start getting logistical about who you're playing and does it really matter, that's when you have to start kind of putting it out there like, hey, I want to save this. I want to make sure we're good. And playing Georgia at the end of the year is not going to do anything for them except for maybe give them a better ranking to be able to have home field advantage or something like that in the playoff. Outside of that, because if they go and win the ACC championship, they're not guaranteed a spot to host because they took that away. But that's the only thing you're playing for is home field advantage. But, when you're talking about going to Georgia Tech, it's not like it's some juggernaut as far as, home field advantage, even though you want to play at home, no doubt. But when you look at Florida State and what they've got ahead of them, realistically, they could drop the game to Miami and still get in the playoff, and as long as they win out, which it really wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Unless they just, threw a, curveball and lost to somebody that they wasn't supposed to lose to.
Yeah, and I kind of look at a guy, Andy Staples from On3. He actually did his playoff prediction probably like 2 or 3 days ago. He actually had Florida State as the 7 seed, Georgia Tech as the 10, and then Miami waiting on them as the 2nd seed. That would be kind of crazy. Florida State getting a home playoff game against Georgia Tech, and then turn around, and if they win that game, you play Miami for potentially a rematch?
Yeah,
that's a crazy scenario there.
I think I saw that, and they did not have an SEC team in the top 4 to get the bye this year. But they had like 4 SEC teams in it, and LSU and Georgia were 2 of them. I remember that. That was interesting having Miami up there with Oregon, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was too, yeah.
Penn State, Oregon, Miami.
Ohio State probably.
And no, it wasn't Ohio State in the top 4. They were out.
Oh,
they were
okay.
out. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the 4th one was. It wasn't Utah, but it was somebody oddball like out of the Big 12. Yeah.
But I did also see a Florida State-Utah like 8-9 matchup, which was kind of gross, but
yeah. So when you look at Florida State, you're thinking, realistically that it's 10-2 or bust this year, right? I mean, really.
Yeah, like your games coming up this year, even if you do drop to a Clemson, because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, you've won, twice in the last 12 years at Clemson. I mean, it's kind of hard to do so. I mean, it's a hard place to play at. Regardless of what Klubnik is, I'm sorry, Jeff and Paul, I know that I had said that basically, Kate Klubnik was the best quarterback in the ACC and potentially a top draft pick. I don't really think that anymore. I'll eat my crow and we'll go along with our day. But just even if they lose to Clemson, I mean, you got Florida at the end of the year. You got NC State that's going to have the gauntlet. You don't play a Georgia Tech. You don't play a Louisville. Like, there's a lot of things going in the right direction for Florida State. They just can't beat themselves.
Yeah, and, with the way that they play defense, the defensive line's been good. Like you said, though, beginning the season, I remember all the things that you were talking about is that, barring injury, you guys have got some really good players, and that's the biggest thing, the wear and tear of a long schedule of seeing who's going to stay healthy, if you're going to lose anybody and have to play a backup and that backup not be as good. If you say that starter's a 10, you want your backup to be around an 8. But if that backup is a 7 or a 6 or even a 5 of a drop-off in percentages as far as production, then that's where you start getting those chances of having cracks in the armor where you don't win ball games like you should because of, not having the experience or having somebody in there that's not as good. And as far as you scoring points, that's the biggest thing. And your stable of running backs that you got's going good. As far as your running backs goes, the freshman, everybody's kind of been talking about him. How is he handling his, because he was a high star coming in and coming to, I saw a video of him talking about coming into a 2-10 team. How's he handling it as well?
He's been a great guy. He comes from Lee County in Georgia. One of those guys that Georgia was highly recruiting at one point. Florida State had Auburn and Georgia kind of at the very end, right before he signed with Florida State. Florida State kind of had to convince him where. He has a great relationship with Mike Norvell and talks about it all the time. David Johnson, their running backs coach, talks with a motto and a catchphrase is, "We're all on fries." So no matter who it is, no matter if it's Gavin Sawchuk or Cam Davis or Keziah Holmes, whoever the running back is at Florida State, they're able to continue to run the ball. They don't show frustration towards one another. They want to see one another be successful. And even though Chroma hasn't been able to get a rushing touchdown, he did get that receiving touchdown on a long play in the third quarter. But just seeing him be cheerful for his teammates to understand that, hey, my time is coming, my opportunity is coming. He talks about himself being a perfectionist. You have to have that on the team, especially being such a younger guy that come in during the summer. He's going to have to be able to develop and continue to develop that, and Kent State's a great opportunity for him to continue to do that.
So when you look at that schedule, and we've talked about it, how with having Gus on that staff, how has he helped Norvell? Because, Mike Norvell, obviously he's been a coach for a while now, and he's played in some big games now. But do you feel like Gus being able to come in with the, his past of what where he's coached and the games that he's coached in, do you think with that, with his experience, that he's kind of given Mike Norvell the easier part of being the head coach where he doesn't have to, so much worry about the offense and make sure that, they're doing this and they're doing it and covering their bases on that? Do you think Gus has been really one of the success stories about this team, going forward, how they've done so far?
Yeah, Norvell wants to be a CEO of this program. Unfortunately, you saw Dabo Swinney. I know it's a bad example, but Dabo Swinney is a great CEO for his program. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, he is a great CEO. He embodies what Clemson has and what they are all about. Norvell wants to be that same kind of thing. He doesn't want to have to continue to hassle with the offense. He loves calling offensive plays, but as you see with Gus Malzahn, he just wants to coach football. He does not want to do the ins and outs of the NIL situation. He doesn't want to be a part of all the drama and that whole spiel. He's too old at that point. He wants to be able to coach football, do what he used to love back in the high school ranks back at Arkansas, and just coach football. I mean, this is what he got the opportunity to do. Him and Norvell's offense is not that much different. They were part of the same coaching tree. Basically, Malzahn gave him an opportunity at Tulsa. was one of those guys that Norvell absolutely loves and got him an opportunity to come back over there. And it hasn't been this love-hate relationship. I'm sure if they get down at Virginia or Miami, they'll probably butt heads a little bit. But I don't think this is going to be an opportunity where it's going to be a completely disrespectful Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban type of relationship on the sideline. This is going to be more of a relationship they're going to have to continue to grow with that.
So it's interesting because millions of people think that Clemson is a team that could play a spoiler role, but Clemson's not thinking of themselves like that because they only lost by 7 and 3 to ranked teams. And everybody's counting them out, but guess what? They're going to linger around. They are going to knock somebody off. Am I right, Paul?
I mean, who do you think, looking at their schedule, looking at who Clemson's got, I mean, Georgia Tech, right? They play Georgia Tech? Didn't you say?
No, they already lost.
They just played.
Lost.
Yeah, they just played them this past week.
Yeah.
So if Clemson wins out, they're at 10-2.
Yeah. And one conference loss because LSU's the other one, yeah.
And then if you've got
So Georgia Tech could lock them out. Even if Georgia Tech takes one conference loss, it could be Georgia Tech versus Miami or Florida. Either
State.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Clemson could be 10-2 on a 9-game win streak?
Yeah.
They'd be the dark horse to slip in at the very end.
Yeah, and that would be...
But they've got to beat the Gamecocks at the end of the year.
Yeah, they'd have to beat South Carolina.
Yes.
And then South Carolina, depending on what I saw this past Saturday, they may not even be, they may not win 7
They
ball
won't
games.
be the third team out like last year.
No.
Yeah.
So, but that's a very interesting way to look at it because Clemson still, like you said earlier, Taylor, which I've kind of almost counted them out just because of 2 losses already early.
We're doing the same thing with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame plays a bunch of ACC teams.
That's true. So there's going to be some spoilers. There's going to be curious of how they value, and we can look at the AP and tell how they value the ACC as far as the AP. But still, we're waiting on that first college football playoff ranking from the playoff committee. We're not going to know realistically how they, what they think about the ACC or the SEC until they put out their first actual poll. And when you see it, then you'll know, okay, so they're really taking the ACC this year serious and not so much the SEC. It's going to be curious to see. But when we come back, we will discuss Miami and Florida a little bit. See what's going on with the Hurricanes and the Gators this weekend. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get in the game. Call or text us now on the Red 7 T studio line. 850-215-6290. Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
I'm not saying it's his fault, okay? I'm not blaming Joe Burrow. That offensive line is absolutely putrid. In the same breath, Joe Burrow signed up for that offensive line because he's the one that decided he wanted to play general manager this offseason. So this is a situation of his own making in terms of how this roster is constituted, the pieces that are around him.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Clear tonight with a wind out of the north around 2 miles per hour and the low of 72. Tomorrow morning, look for a light breeze and sunshine with a temperature near 85. The afternoon and evening, a high around 86 and sunshine with a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, very warm with a high of 87 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Discover the new Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia and test drive the new 2025 Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The 2025 Kia SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorrento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in the luxury of a 2025 Kia K5 sedan and from Bill Bird Kia. Performance, power, and design built for you. Spark inspiration in the all-electric 2025 EV9. It's a modern masterpiece, fast charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original home for the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
College Football Saturday on ESPN Radio. It's a showdown in the SEC.
Arnold shot to the end zone.
Jackson Arnold leads the 3-0 and 22nd ranked Auburn Tigers in Oklahoma to face his former team, the 3-0 11th ranked Sooners.
Kickoff Saturday, 2:30 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. Marquee matchups, huge rivalries, and fan favorites. The college football headquarters on the Gulf Coast is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Sports Blitz.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. We've been talking a lot about college football. We've got Taylor Devers from Chop Chat on Norvell Central as well on the phone with us. We're going through these ACC games coming up. No bigger game, no game that's being talked about as much as the Miami-Florida game this week. Taylor, you got Carson Beck playing against DJ Lagway. Billy Napier's already said DJ Lagway is our quarterback. There is no second guy. He is the starter. He is going to play. How do you think this one's going to wind up being?
Well, just speaking from the experience with the DJ Lagway thing, you have to live and die by that quarterback. I mean, at this point, your job is on the line. You have to show a former five-star, and hopefully he plays like one. Unfortunately, I just think Carson Beck is just a little too much. You saw last week the South Florida team that was top 25 in the country got overwhelmed by Miami. I figured that. A lot of people in the audience kind of figured that as well. But just overall, I think Carson Beck is a little too much. I'm not saying that it's such a environment that nobody can really handle with this regard, but just overall, though, that Florida and Miami game is going to be absolutely gross. I wish it could end in a tie. I wish NFL rules can apply to this game because I really just don't love both teams at all, obviously. But, yeah, it's going to be disgusting for Florida more than likely, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe Billy Napier can make a game of it.
Yeah, I think when you look at Miami, when you look what they did to Notre Dame, when you look what they did to USF, it's a different Miami team this year. It's a team that it seems to be built more like an SEC team. They're going to play hard-nosed defense. They're going to do everything they can to stop the run. And the thing is that with playing a team that's got an explosive quarterback like Byron Brown, and I get it, he's from USF, but I'll tell you, he's been looking really good, but they held him in check the whole game, and that to me was more impressive than anything else. I think that they're going to score the ball. I think they're going to do that, but if you can run the ball on Miami, which USF was not able to do, and they were able to do that against the other teams that they played, that's where you're looking at a possibility of them going forward and being a good team. Now, their schedule kind of lines up for themselves. Jeff, go through the schedule real quick and tell us what you think about it, because I know we were talking about it, and they look like it's got their schedule is going to lean easier by the way they've got it set up.
But it's not the order that they play the opponents. It's that they have 2 byes in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they got the Gators, then they got a bye. Then they play at Florida State, then they have a bye, and then they come back at home against Louisville.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got 3, I don't want to say tough opponents. For argument's sake, we'll just say the Gators are a tough opponent because they're somewhat of a rival, right? They played last year, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are 3 of the next 5 weeks. They've only got 3 games in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, so their schedule really
they have
plays
2
good.
weeks to prepare for Louisville and for Florida State. I mean, and then after that, look, they got Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, and then at Virginia Tech and at Pittsburgh. Now, I hope they don't do what they did last year, because remember they dropped 2 of the last 3 games?
Yes.
I hope they don't do something stupid like that, playing NC State, at Virginia Tech, and at Pitt in the last 3 weeks of the season.
Now, Taylor, this was one team that you talked about early on when we first started, and obviously we can't tell the future, but what do you think about Virginia Tech firing their coach? Because I remember you specifically saying they've got some good players up there. They've got the atmosphere that Coach Pride did a good job, but now they're coachless, and so now it's probably going to be one of those teams that just gets walked by everybody now that they don't have the coach.
Yeah, I like Kyron Drones. Don't get me wrong. I know he said some things about Doak Campbell Stadium not being super loud and all this stuff about how he went about his business there. But realistically, you cannot lose to Old Dominion. And by chance, you were down 31-0. I mean, that's unexcusable. Maybe the Michael Vick effect, and maybe he comes back coaching, and maybe he has enough experience now at this point. But you need something to generate that crowd into something better. I mean, they deserve so much better as a fan base.
Wait, you said Michael Vick? You actually believe that Michael Vick has an opportunity to go coach at Virginia Tech?
Well, I didn't think Dion would. And, I mean, I'm not saying – now, I know that he has, and On3 has actually reported this as well, that they actually told him originally that he needed to get more coaching experience. Not to say he's in realm to get coaching experience at this point, but maybe they just need to generate a spark.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, everybody's talked about, Beamer coming back, coaching where his dad went. But, the guy that talks to us from the rebelwalk.com, Steve Barnes, he said yesterday something that kind of changed my mind on it a little bit. They asked Terry Bowden about going down and coaching at Florida State, and he said absolutely not. And his reasoning is because I would never be good enough, because I'd never be able to do what my dad did. And I just wonder if Shane Beamer has that thought process as well. When you go behind your dad and he's a legend for that team and that atmosphere and that college fan base, it just kind of makes you wonder about that. But everybody's been talking about Shane Beamer, come on home, son. And, I mean, he could. But what's your thought on that? Do you think Shane Beamer possibly could come?
I don't know. I could see it being like a trendy type of discussion, maybe to generate like a raise, and kind of getting him more so. I could honestly see him at Oklahoma if Venables didn't pan out, the way it has so far this year. I mean, I thought that would be a great destination for him, but just like I said, too many expectations there. A lot of storylines that could be popular, but I think it's just all smoke.
Do we think that we're going to swift over to go to the Miami-Florida game? Do we think that right now that Carson Beck is in the top 3 out of all of college football as being a top 3 quarterback right now as we sit?
I think he's got a good start. I mean, you can't really argue with it right now. I think he throws the ball very consistently. I think he throws it a little too lackadaisical sometimes, which scares me. But I think Florida State can kind of take advantage of some of those opportunities they were able to. But overall, Carson Beck is a tremendous quarterback, probably what Miami needed after a Cam Ward. Right now, I would say he is, but I don't want to give Paul too much credit on this one.
I mean, when you look at what he's done so far, I mean, we're really seeing it. I mean, and a lot of the things is that the Miami insiders that we've talked to, they've really, just really been talking heavy on him. And I just wonder, how, again, I want to go way back whenever we first started the season last year. Everybody had Carson Beck as a top 2-3 quarterback going to be picked in the NFL draft. Here we are again. We're right here again. They're already starting to talk about it, and I mean, he's been putting it to them. And I mean, will we see this weekend that Florida defense isn't what we thought they were. Because you're going to see a different style of quarterback. Now we're going to see, is Garrett Nussmeier in the same conversation as Carson Beck? Because he's going to be playing the same Florida defense, Jeff. And when you look at him, he's going to throw the ball. They're going to throw the ball. They're going to come out and throw the ball. And if they go out there and score 30-plus points against the same Florida defense that gave up only 20 to LSU, we've got to be discussing Carson Beck early on, Heisman favorite, early on, leading Miami into the top 5 of the college football. If you're thinking Florida, because everybody across the country was talking about, oh man, Florida's defense this, Florida's defense that, and that's well spoken. But at the end of the day, if Carson Beck hangs 30 points on that Florida defense, I mean, we got to give it to him.
They're at least going to score 27, in my opinion. If they score 27, are you disappointed?
No.
Yeah, I think that's on the low end. I think they're going to score 30-something points. But on the low end, I think they would only score 27 on Florida's defense.
One of our listeners, he wrote in 42-13 for Miami.
So that means 6 touchdowns and not settling for a field goal. That's not going to happen. The Gators are going to stop one of those drives, at least 2 of those drives, and for a field goal. I mean, because look at how many times they stopped LSU.
Yeah, they did.
That guy, Caleb Banks, is a beast.
Yeah, but he's not playing. He's out. He's gone.
I saw him on the sidelines in the fourth quarter.
He's out. He is completely out. That was reported this week. Caleb Banks is out and possibly out for the rest of the year. Just not able to play. That's going to be a big hurt because he's a monster.
Yeah.
And I mean, he just can't stay healthy.
So if you're talking about Carson Beck, okay, Drew. I don't like Drew Allar for Penn State.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's going to sneak into that conversation. He's going to be a bust in the NFL. I'm going to say it right now. No, I mean, I don't believe in him. Who else are we talking about? There's going to be some guy from the Big 12 that's going to step up and be a big name in this Heisman race?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Avery Johnson from Kansas State might have a word with you.
Yeah, they already have 2 losses, man. They look horrible.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Avery Johnson's terrible.
That
whole team is terrible. They have
21 on Iowa State. I mean, I don't care if you're playing in Ireland. 21 points. That's it.
But
yeah, can we ban games from Ireland? Because I mean, Florida State had the 2-10 season after Ireland, so Kansas State might have a 2-10 season too. So
yeah. So if your team is playing or looking at booking to go to Ireland, don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it.
50% shot of having a hex on your team that year.
That's so true. Hey, also think about what everybody's saying. Everybody in the NFL right now, all of your talking heads, all of your NFL people, all of your college talking heads, they're talking about that this college football season's quarterbacks going into the NFL draft is loaded. Now, we just talked about the SEC, and now we're only talking. I don't see anything. I know, Jeff, you were really high on Miller Moss coming into the season, but he's not looked great. No. And then you got Carson Beck over there. Tommy, he's not a pro quarterback. I know he's small and all that, but you know, when you look at it, like I don't see what they're talking about. I mean, they were big on the Arch, and they still think Arch, and they're still trying to push Arch, but I mean, I don't see it. Do you see it, Taylor? Because I don't see it. I see Carson Beck standing there, but I don't see hardly anybody else as far as for the NFL draft.
You know, I really like C.J. Bailey from NC State. I'm a big fan of his. 6'7", 220, can run, can throw. I mean, he's got a lot of tools that I think a lot of NFL teams would actually like. I know that he's played, Wake Forest and Virginia and East Carolina, but he's had some successful runs at NC State so far, and I think he can only get better, especially in that gauntlet he's got to play. We're going to find out one way or the other if he's good.
When I watch him play, you know who I think of? Anthony Richardson. That's who I see when I see C.J. Bailey. Obviously, he throws the ball a little bit better, but his stature and just being bigger than everybody else on the field, that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I see him. But, I mean, when we look back to this Miami-Florida game, what do you think, Taylor? Do you think Miami hangs 30? Do you think it's going to be close? Do you think it's going to be defensive game? What are you thinking about this game?
I think it depends on the first drive for Florida. If Lagway comes out there skittish, they go 3 and out, it might be a long game if they go 3 and out. I mean, realistically, when you look at it, Carson Beck's going to be a big storyline, but what about Mark Walton Jr. at running back? LSU wasn't able to run the ball. Don't tell Brian Kelly that. But you got to find a way to run the football, especially in SEC play against the Gators at that point. I think this is going to be a game for Mark Walton, and he's going to have to do it time and time and time again. He had 16 carries for about 120 yards against South Florida, was able to kind of get those aggressive carries that they actually needed on second and third downs, and I think this could be another game for him.
So you do believe Miami's going to beat them. Do you think they're going to get to 30 points?
I actually think they're going to get probably closer to 40.
Oh, wow. Well, and that's what you got to look at. See, for me, I'm still not 100% yet. I'm sold out on Miami. I think Carson Beck's doing an outstanding job. I'm just not when you've got 5 stars on the team, when you've got a coach that is on a hot seat, and when you've got a team that has been here before. You know, a lot of teams haven't been here before, but this team, for the most part, has been here before. Now, losing Banks is going to be huge for them. So I could see where it could get out of hand, and it could get out of hand real quick. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I'm just still dumb enough to believe that there's a chance that DJ Lagway comes out there and plays totally different. I mean, how many times in college football have we seen a kid look one way one week, and then the following week he looks totally different? You know, and I mean, wouldn't that be the biggest story if that's a nail-biter game and it's not a blowout and people aren't, talking about how, Miami destroyed Florida like everybody's picking? You will see on College Game Day, all of the picks will be Miami winning.
So wait a minute. Where did Lagway look good? Against Long Island or South Florida?
Last year.
Oh, last year. Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've been here before.
Yeah, beat Ole Miss and LSU.
Yeah, they've been here before.
Yeah.
They've been with their backs against the wall. They've been on the hot seat before. They've been called no good before. They've been something's wrong with your, freshman quarterback. They've been in this situation before. Yeah. And so now they're in familiar territory. We've talked about Miami not being the hardest place to play at. Yeah. But everybody's going to be watching again. Mm-hmm. It's at night. Everybody's going to be watching. DJ Lagway, a Billy Napier that is on his last leg, opportunity to stun the world. Are we going to see what Florida brings to the table? And I just can't get away from it at this point.
The Gators are going to have to pull some trick plays.
They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to do something totally different. And see, when you're in desperation mode, that's where you don't have anything to lose. Mm-hmm. That's where, and the thing is they've got 5-star players. Mm-hmm. Don't forget that. They're talented. They've got talent on that roster. Yeah. And the defense, they've been good. I mean, what if they intercept Beck early, pick 6, or they score first and then interception and go up by 2 touchdowns in the first quarter? I mean, crazier things have happened. So, I mean, when you look at it, it's a very, I don't know. It's going to be weird. But either way, we're going to go ahead and take our next break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss a lot more about this college football season. You're listening to the Sports Blitz here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The Red 70s studio line is now open. 850-215-6290.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The Sports Blitz.
A kid graduated high school at 16. He's already graduated Ole Miss at 19.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. His leadership qualities are good, but he is a little cavalier with the football. The way we talked about in the last segment with Lagway. It's just young quarterbacks have to learn that through failure.
The Sports Blitz.
Live and local, weekdays, 4 to 6.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Saturday, September 27th, come to the grand opening land sale at the ranches at Creekside Preserve and get your gorgeous 20 to 50 acre estate in desirable Baldwin County on sale from only $139.9. That's right. Get 20 to 50 acres in Baldwin County from just $139.9 with excellent financing available. Ranches at Creekside Preserve features private large acreage tracts with beautiful woodlands, rolling meadows, and a peaceful creek, all surrounded by pristine natural beauty and abundant wildlife. It's your opportunity to live in Baldwin County, Alabama, one of the fastest growing coastal counties in the U.S. due to low taxes and a low cost of living. Don't miss out. Come to the grand opening land sale at the ranches at Creekside Preserve and get your gorgeous 20 to 50 acre estate in desirable Baldwin County. On sale from only $139.9. Call 877-888-1415 or go to creeksidepreserveal.com. That's creeksidepreserveal.com.
The Kings of the Swamp.
Falls loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
The Gators renew their rivalry with the Miami Hurricanes.
Quick race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10 with 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football.
Gators at Hurricanes. Saturday, kickoff at 6:30 on 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
If you build it, they will come. We're live from the CBC Construction Studios. The Sports Blitz.
Woo! Welcome home, baby.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're having a blast today. We're talking with Taylor Devers from Chop Chat, Norvell Central. Don't forget you can call in. You can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. You know, we've been talking about the Miami-Florida game and just trying to figure out whether or not which Florida team is going to show up, the team from last year or the team from this year. And that's the thing. That's really what we've got. And, you know, Taylor, when you look at it, if you're thinking they're going to score 40 points, if this is going to be one of those games that's high scoring, you definitely have to know that it's going to lean towards Miami.
It's going to have to, but realistically, the only way Florida can hang into this game is if they have running back Jaden Baugh be able to be successful in the run game. If you don't have him, what is DJ Lagway going to throw to? Burnell Brown had a good game, but his receivers are meh. I mean, Mizell's okay, but I just wonder if their running game is going to establish early. You're going to kind of eliminate those possessions from Miami. That's the only way I don't see 40.
Yeah, and that's really where you can't. If they get to 30, is the Florida offense built to outscore teams? You know, to me, I say no. I say they're not. Not because DJ Lagway can't throw or anything like that. I just don't think that they're a team. I think they're more of like a 28 points, giving up 10, giving up 2 touchdowns, winning by, 10 or 12 or whatever, and playing good defense. But, I don't think their offense is really built that way. When you look at it, Jeff kind of alluded to it earlier. Do you think there's been maybe some disrespect given over to the ACC, Taylor, with you've got Miami in the top 5, you've got Florida State in the top 10, and then from there,
Georgia Tech.
You don't have anybody until 18, Georgia Tech, and then that is all. So you got 4 teams. I'm sorry, is that right? No, 3 teams.
3 teams.
3 teams in the top 25. And
there's no Louisville because they hadn't played nobody.
Right.
And NC State, who can't put anybody away.
Yeah.
Because they beat Virginia by 4. They beat East Carolina by 7. And then they beat Wake Forest by 10, I think it was. So, NC State, they played okay opponents, but they hadn't put anybody away.
Yeah. Do you think that there's some disrespect for the ACC, Taylor, or do you believe kind of that's where it should be, where you got the Miami at 4, you got Florida State at 7?
Let me say this. The AP poll, I think, is a joke. There is a couple of voters in there that probably shouldn't have votes. They actually posted a graphic of, each AP voter and how they voted. Mm-hmm. And there was actually a guy from Louisiana that had Notre Dame at 10. Alabama at 13 and Florida State at 14.
Whoa.
And Auburn at 15. It's pretty crazy. So if you include that and have those guys contribute into the type of voting, I'm just kind of waiting on the playoff rankings at that point if they're going to vote like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. I mean, we are, but it still gives us some content to talk about, to really discuss whether or not we feel like a team is as good as they say they are. It really rubs me the wrong way, and I'm going to go on a rant for just a second here. It rubs me the wrong way to see an 0-2 team still being ranked in the top 25. It's just terrible because Notre Dame, even though they lost to good teams, they also lost one game at home to a team that they wasn't supposed to lose to, and then they lose to another team at the beginning of the season that they wasn't supposed to lose to, a Miami team that we've talked about that doesn't have a rowdy crowd. But they go and they lose to Miami. Then they come home. They got a bye week in between, and they wait for Texas A&M to show up. Yeah, they lost by 1 point. Yeah, it was a last-second touchdown. But realistically, how in the world can Notre Dame still be in the top 25? I get it. Their schedule is trash. But don't put them in the top 25 right now. Let them work their way back up. But no, let's put them in there just because they're Notre Dame. They don't have a conference. A conference? What's a conference? I don't need a conference because if I'm Notre Dame, I can lose to whoever I want as long as I beat all these cupcake teams that I play against.
And they were 14-2 last year.
Yeah.
Losing the national championship.
Right.
Yeah.
But who could have went in their way and been able to do what they did?
Yeah, because they had a light schedule in the playoffs, is what you're saying?
The light schedule in the playoffs. Yeah. They also had a light schedule during the year.
Yeah.
And you got to look at it, man, and I get it. You can tell me, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face. Injuries happen when you play hard teams. Not that they don't happen. Sorry about that, Travis. But when you play hard teams, you have injuries. You know, look at what happened with Florida last week. They lost their best defensive lineman playing against who? LSU. If they were playing against, whoever, they may have not have lost him. And that's the key. That's why it's always about who you're playing. And they've given Notre Dame these cupcake schedules forever. They give them all of this ranking. And if the College Football Playoff Committee, if they put them in the top 25 when there's other teams out there that are better than them, that have beat better competition, I'm going to be just as fired up as I am right now because there's no way Notre Dame should be in the top 25 right now.
So they play that ACC thing where they play 6 opponents, I believe it is.
Yeah, right? The weakest ACC.
Wait. Oh, yeah. What, you want to hear how weak it is?
Yeah.
Last year, the top 3 teams in ACC were Clemson, SMU, and Miami. Guess who didn't play any of those 3 teams last year?
Let me take a wild guess. Notre Dame.
You got it. Boom.
Yeah. Who do they play this year?
They do play. Well, they play 2 of them, I believe it is.
Miami and Clemson?
3. Clemson and... Yeah, and they already lost to Miami.
They already lost to Miami.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So they're
already 1
and 2. So if they'd done that last year, who knows where their seed would have been. They definitely wouldn't have had a home game in the first round.
No.
Last year.
They probably would have lost to
maybe
Miami.
Yeah, Miami lost their games at the end of the year. They play them at the beginning of the year. I mean, last year it would be in a different situation.
I mean, do you still believe what I'm saying is correct, Taylor? Do you think it's an atrocity that Notre Dame is in the top 25 on this AP poll?
I do think it's pretty bad, but overall that comes with the preseason rankings again. You basically have a CJ Carr that is, you don't really know what to expect from him. I mean, the offense is run by Jeremiah Love. I hate to see such a talented running back like him get just absolutely, I mean, he is fighting for every single yard that he gets because CJ Carr just is not a threat down the field. So it's weird to think about. Like, I thought this Notre Dame team was going to be better with CJ Carr at least to have a reliable thrower. But, man, it looks rough. And, I mean, that's a bad look with Notre Dame with their ranking because I don't think they should be anywhere close to the top 25.
Yeah, it's crazy how they do these AP polls, and I get it. There's those guys that you're talking about that put people where they shouldn't be, and everybody knows it's true. But when you look at this AP poll, I mean, it really is pretty close as far as the top, I'd say 15, 16, 17 picks. You could probably move a few here and there. But do you feel like that at this point where your guys are at right now with Florida State, you feel like 7's a good spot for y'all? Do you feel like that's really where y'all deserve to be?
Personally, I don't really think we deserve to be that high. I mean, what did we do from going from 10 to 7? I mean, we didn't play anybody last week. I thought that maybe 9 would have been a little bit more realistic. I know why they're doing it, because I think they're trying to get as high as possible for the Miami-Florida State game. Even as bad as Florida State's been over the last couple of years, they've always elevated that Miami-Florida State matchup as something to be highly ranked, and I appreciate that. But overall, that matchup has not really been great over the couple of years, and now it's coming to a point where this is probably the biggest game that Miami and Florida State's had since 2015.
Yeah, and you know, when I look at this, I do think Georgia Tech, they're the ones that are, I mean, they got them at 18. I think they're a little bit better than that. I think they should be in the top 15 because you've got Alabama and you've got Tennessee right there at 14 and 15. I'm not so sure if Alabama's a 14 team yet. I feel kind of the same way you do as far as, you know, the same way about Alabama. You know, we've looked good against teams that aren't very good. Wisconsin's not very good. Louisiana Monroe's definitely not very good. But I think when you look at a team like Georgia Tech, if you think Clemson is a good team, which I do, I think they're a good team. I don't think they're elite, but I think they're a good team. And Georgia Tech, it took everything they had to beat them, as well as their leading rusher was their quarterback. I know that that's his game and that's how he plays, but, you know, it took almost everything that they had to beat Clemson, and then LSU beating Clemson at the beginning of the year and LSU beating Florida like they did. It just, you know, if you've got LSU at 3 who beat Clemson, and then you've got Georgia Tech at 18 who beat Clemson, I think they should be closer. I don't think they should be farther away.
Well, let's be honest. LSU, well, yeah, it was better than 7-point win against Clemson.
Right.
Georgia Tech needed a last-second field goal. It almost went into overtime.
Right.
You know,
at home.
Yeah.
And then,
but I'll tell you what's going to happen this weekend. The Hurricanes win by 21 or more points against the Gators. The Hurricanes going to steal number 3 away from LSU. LSU's going to drop this week playing a cupcake.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, yeah. LSU's not going to be 3 next week.
If they win by that much, if they win, that they'll do that, but guess who they will not move? I'm telling you right now, the AP won't move Ohio State and they won't move Penn State.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to stay in number 1 and number 2
you're right.
for the rest of the time until they lose.
Well, it was surprising to see Oregon drop from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
Well, they're not as blue blood to the Big Ten as Penn State and Ohio State.
Yeah, obviously they're the new guys on the block, but they won the conference last year.
That's
just
right.
saying.
Well, when you look at them, they're a type of team that, you know, they're talking a lot of smack about them, but, you know, until it gets to the meat of their conference play, they're not going to. I mean, realistically, who's in the Big Ten except for Penn State?
Are we going to? No, we're going to write off Michigan as soon as they get a second loss because they lost already to. Who's it? Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
It was,
yeah. That's the other team that I don't think they have any business being in top 25.
So what's insane is we're have top 10 games this week. We're doing pick'em, and we have Illinois versus Indiana. That's insane.
Yeah, but they're both. I'm telling you, Illinois is legit. They're a good team. They're one of those teams that could possibly play in the championship of the Big Ten. Oh. There's a big chance. And I'm just telling you, they run the ball, they throw the ball, their quarterback's established. He's been there for a few years now, and Brett Bielema knows how to win football games. And people can say what they want. He knows how to win Big Ten football games, too. And that's why I think they're going to be that type of say. But, you know, let me give you the last word. We got about a minute to go. Taylor, what do you want to say to the fans of Miami, Florida, and Florida State before we leave this beautiful Tuesday?
Florida State's going to have a marvelous weekend this weekend, and I know good and well that I hope both teams lose from Miami and Florida. And also, let's not forget that Jeff actually said Illinois correct and not Illinois.
That's right.
So great job this week, and I'm so proud and ready for college football this weekend.
We appreciate it, Taylor. You've been listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN. We will see you tomorrow. Big time Tennessee talking SEC football. You want to listen. Thank you. Have a great night.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Rex Ryan said Russell Wilson can't play. That was a week ago. Can Russ still play? Now he's